veins, I've been driving this train. Years in this lane, there's no stopping this flame. Cause I came to the game and I changed it to play how I like, rearranged it to my own domain. Yeah, I got what it takes, made lots of mistakes, taking shots, skipping breaks, feeling lost, feeling great, popping off, singing straight, never stopped, never changed. All the squad here to play, and I've got something to say, yeah. I work hard each and every day, I get lost in the words I say. I don't push pause, no, I push play. I won't stop till I make a change. I withdraw on the things I make. I turn flaws into flawless traits. I build tall, never capping space. I won't stop till I hear him say,
Welcome back. Welcome back. We're back for Ready to Love, Make a Move, the new premiere show that's a spinoff from our original show, Ready to Love. How's everybody? How are you doing, JR?
I'm okay, thank you. All
You
good?
okay? Okay,
Yeah.
yep. Yeah, I'm pretty good. It's like a little dreary day here in Detroit, but I'm doing okay. I'm not going to complain. It's not snowing yet, so what do I
hmm
have to complain about? I'm
hmm
going to tell you something. I don't know if you're familiar with it. It's because it's here in the States, but there's this thing called the Murdoch murders, right? Yeah,
Okay.
this guy, this very prominent attorney down in the South, Alex Murdoch, name would be Alex again, of course, right? Decided to unalive his wife and his son,
Oh no.
and it's just a really like crazy story. Then they find out there's like three more possible unalivings that he and his family could be responsible for. So I went down that rabbit hole yesterday and today. So that's what I've been doing, guys. I've been just going down that rabbit hole. Like, I'm like, what? He did what? This guy is crazy. I think he's a complete sociopath.
Wow.
So let me say hey to everybody that's here. You got Coach Sherry. How you doing? Hey there. Sylvia, be amazing Sylvia. Hey Sylvia. Hey Pandy. Roro's in the house. Right. One of our members, she's in the house, and also Pandy and Sylvia are also as well. And hey, Shakira, good to see you. You told me you would make it. All right, all right. Good to see you. And the mother and daughter duo. Oh, that's awesome. That is awesome. Good to see you guys. Good to see you. I'm gonna leave this one up. And we'll go ahead, guys, and get started. What did you guys think of this? What did you think of this first episode? Right? What did you think of it, Jr.?
Oh, no surprises for me.
Okay.
I how can I say? It's still very early.
Yeah, I was gonna
Um,
say it is. It really is for a new show. I feel like new shows will oftentimes take at least a good um 3 episodes to kind of really get filled with enough to kind of keep you like your interest and to also introduce you to the characters, even though we've met these ladies before, right?
yeah. But have
don't
they
sound
changed?
don't sound so optimistic, JR.
No, well, no. I mean, have they changed a lot from what we've seen on the previous show? Um, that's the
it's
thing.
it's been a couple of 2-3 years for some of them, depending on which one, and actually I think it's been more like 4 3 4 years, so it's been a while for Ashley. um Okay, phone's trying to ring, but I can't talk right now. I'm on a podcast. Watch the podcast. You'll hear my voice. Yeah, but so like, let me see. Who's the most recent one? So let's say, for example, Sharice. Sharice is let me put this on no disturb. Sharice is somebody we saw just maybe say a year ago
Yeah.
on screen. So I don't know. What
Mhm.
what do you think? I think a year, depending on if a person has really had the chance to reflect and do some introspection amongst them, with themselves. Perhaps some people might have needed to do a little bit more deeper work and sit in therapy or counseling or
Okay.
coaching even, right?
And
So
where do you put Sharice in either of those brackets?
I would say Sharice was someone that I would have myself personally, and it's just my opinion, I would have preferred to have seen Sharice sit with a therapist, because I felt like, and this is a thing, like I don't know if a lot of people caught this, and you tell me if you caught this during her season. I felt like when we met her family, when we met her dad, I felt like there was this very bad chemistry between her and her dad. Like he, it's clear that he loves her. It's clear that she loves him, but he also seemed to be very quick to put her down. And I know as a daughter, I can't think of a time when my father ever put me down in front of someone publicly, right?
Hmm.
Like he would get me straight. Don't get me wrong. I didn't have a father that was like, "Oh, you're just so perfect," and like all that kind of stuff. He would get me told or get me straight if something I needed to improve upon, or I did something that he felt was wrong. He could sit me down and we could talk about it, but he would have never, like, her father. So when we meet her father, he's in front of Samson. Remember that? And he was like kind of basically tearing her down.
No, he's basically saying that she's hard work.
She's hard work, and there were some other things he said, but I would have liked it for him to not have put that out there like that. Just like, I'll give you an example. Brandon from this past season. When we say that Brandon shouldn't have put all his business out on the first meeting, why should her dad put all her business out upon meeting someone? It's his first time meeting Samson, right?
Yeah, but she did a good job of making herself look like hard work.
Yeah, but it wasn't for dad. My point is, I'm just simply saying, for me, it wasn't for her dad to tell him that on the first meeting. He doesn't even know if this guy's going to be hard work or not. You does that make any sense?
Yeah, he doesn't. And the chances are, he probably thought that guy wasn't going to be sticking around. So I get what you're saying. But the fact of the matter is, like I said, like the first thing I want to see is if there's any change in the behavior from what we saw on the previous show. And if there
Absolutely.
isn't, then I don't think there's going to be much hope for the result to be any different than what we saw on the last show. So I don't even know if they're going to be meeting parents on this show, but from what
No.
we've seen on the first episode,
Hmm.
um, it's basically a rerun of what happened last season, on the Ready to Love that she was on.
Okay. Well, I mean, I guess we're going to find out. I guess that would be the point, because I
Mm,
don't. Let me ask you this. Let me ask you this. So, do you think? Let's discuss Ashley for a minute.
mm,
I noticed some people were already saying, and I didn't even watch the video. I just saw the thumbnail for someone else, one of our peers on here on the YouTube streets, right? And they
mm,
said that perhaps Ashley was not ready.
mhm.
She was not ready, and I felt like that was based upon, and we'll get to it, when it comes up. But just briefly, just kind of surmising. Do you feel like that's true, that somebody can have tears for someone that they love that passed away, and yet people automatically assume that they're not healed enough for dating? Do you feel like that would be the case with Ashley specifically?
Um, yeah, not just Ashley, but yeah. I mean, if it depends how recent this bereavement was. If it was like, in the last couple of weeks or just before the filming, or in
Hmm.
recent times, yeah, I could understand there still being emotion there. If it's
Yeah,
quite a few years back,
it
then
is.
it seems as if there is still some unhealed, unfinished business, unresolved um, trauma or feelings
Okay.
regarding the
Okay.
passing of that person. So she is not ready, because if she gets into a relationship, how do we know that those emotions are going to be stable enough for this new guy who has nothing to do with that previous trauma? How do we know that those wounds may not be expressed upon him in some reason, or emotionally charged arguments, for example, based on something that he wasn't even around for? So I
Hmm.
think there definitely needs to be some healing first if she's still emotional about it and it happened a long time ago.
Hmm. Well, well, like I said, when we're going to get to it, because I was going to say she was sharing this with one of her female roommates, with Zadia, right? So
Hmm.
I don't know. I mean, like, I find it interesting that on the one hand, in society, we can say that, okay, we're now progressive enough to say that men should be able to cry, and we
Hmm.
should be okay with that, which I'm okay with that. But
Hmm.
then on the other hand, we turn around and we say that if someone still gets a little teary eyed or actually has a good cry, which we all know, I think most of us know that crying is actually cathartic. There's a reason why we have tear ducts on our face, right? So why would we assume that just because she's crying as she's retelling this whole situation, which was actually a very violent situation, unfortunately, that her father was unalived, he didn't die of a natural death. Like,
Hmm.
why would we assume that she's unhealed because she gets emotional about that? I mean, like, which one
Okay.
of us hasn't lost a loved one and doesn't still cry about it from time to time?
Yeah, that's true. But this is the thing. If she's on the show to be dating someone, then I think being in a place where she isn't as emotional would be much better for her to be able to have a chance at finding a stable relationship. If she's still emotional, to the point where just talking about it brings up feelings, whether it's pain, resentment, whether it's love, whether it's good things, it's okay sharing that with her girlfriend, Zadia. But my point is she able to control it so it doesn't spill over into a relationship, which is what she's on the show for? So that would be the determining factor and the caveat. It's
Okay.
okay to have a cry. It's okay to be emotional. But
Yeah.
if you're coming into your relationship and you're hanging on to stuff, whether you're male or female, if you're bringing stuff from your past into your current or new relationship, then
Okay.
it's not going to be a good thick way to start your relationship.
Okay. I can agree with that. That makes perfect sense. Um, okay, so we meet these four young ladies. There's Ashley, who we were just talking about, 36, and she's in Atlanta. Like she said, she's from the first season of Ready to Love. Those of you that are Ready to Love fans, you probably seen her. Let me know down in the comment sections if you are familiar. Give like the person's name. You could put a one next to it, Ashley, a one if you're familiar, or a two if you're not familiar. So we also have that's Ashley, two E's, no Y. You got Vernisha, who's 42, from H Town, right? And we saw her not too long ago. In fact, she is actually one of the castmates of our own Ron Freeman, right?
Hmm.
So Vernicia's from H Town. Put a one in the chat if you're familiar with Vernicia. Put her name and a one if you're familiar with her and saw her on that season, or a Vernicia a two. Then we've got Sharice from Miami. Just saw her season not very long ago. I think that was the last season right before the season of Dallas, right? And you've got Zadia. Zadia is from the DC season, guys. You got to remember Zadia. If you watch Ready to Love, who doesn't remember Zadia and her finger poking Dante in the nose? You remember that, don't you, Jr.?
Yeah, well, of course. It's what she's known for.
Yeah, the nose poke. And
Mhm.
I have to say I was very on her about that nose poke and some other things in her behavior too. So these ladies, so Sharice says that she's very direct and blunt, and that baggage is baggage. What did you think about that comment from Sharice? Because she's still talking about men with kids, and I guess for some reason she feels like kids are baggage.
Hmm. Well, yeah, and we know the reason why. She's been very clear on on this show already, and she's been very clear on the previous show as well. Like she sees that as baggage, um, and unfortunately, um, don't know her exact age, but at in her age range,
40s. I think
it's
she's
not
40.
gonna be right. So it's not gonna be uncommon to meet guys who have children from previous relationships. Um,
Mhm.
and I think he said his last child was 4 years old.
Yeah. Well,
So that would put him somewhere in
mhm.
his late 30s when he had that child, which is, something that you might, if you're looking to date guys in your age group and you're that and your Sharice's age, then that's something you might want to consider that will come with that particular guy. And it's no different for guys as well. If we date a Venetia who has kids already, grown kids, like sometimes you have to expect that that's what comes with a lady in your age group. So you can't say to this guy, oh, you know what, all your kids are baggage. And then you know that there are women that are on the show that have kids as well. If someone said that, it would be seen as quite disrespectful to those kids and the lady as well. So Sharice, yeah, not really a good start in terms of who she went on a date with. She immediately picked him apart, dissected him, and ruled him out, eliminated him completely.
Yeah. Well, she kind of did. She kind of did when we get there. Uh. uh, Let's see. Mm, mm, mm. Um. Zadia tells us that she hasn't had a relationship since her season when she dated Nye for like 10 months.
Hmm.
She admits that she's been toxic in the past. She's had outbursts in the past, which we've kind of discussed that a little bit. And I asked the question once again, and like you and I both are saying, has she changed? Has she changed?
Mm.
Moving on to Ashley. Ashley claims that her guy Alex was a liar. Imagine that, Alex being a liar. Okay. She said that Alex had a car and an apartment in other people, and at one point a sugar mama's name. I was
Mm.
like, okay, is this like a theme for Ready to Love? Like we've got, Rashid, we've got some guy that they say is financially unstable. Is this like a theme for Ready to Love, where people aren't really who they seem to be?
Yeah, it probably is because it's an opportunity to get your name out there and make opportunities for yourself as well. As we know, not everyone comes onto the show like this to find a relationship. Some are out to build brands or create networks and opportunities.
Yeah, that's true. That's true because you got a lot of people that are entrepreneurs, basically. I guess I would say, right?
Yeah, but there are successful entrepreneurs and there are new entrepreneurs and there are entrepreneurs who are always trying to figure out a way to build, right? The newer entrepreneurs, they're struggling, so they need a heads up or they need a look in or a handout or a high five or an assist to try and get their business started and growing. You have entrepreneurs who have been in the game for a long time, so they've been there, done that. They've got a formula. They've built some success already, and then you've got the in-betweeners who are probably trying to find something to latch onto to accelerate what they've already started building. And Ready to Love, um, I guess some people see it as a vehicle to be able to do that. So not everybody on the show is going to be serious, that's for sure.
Yeah, I was just looking at the guy Monique, our own Monique King, our moderator. She's saying that this guy that Ashley picked, Donald, apparently said he moved to New Orleans just to film the show, and then moved back to where he's from to North Carolina. That's interesting. Okay, wow, that is very interesting. So, when we talk about the date, so the women get to meet Tamika Lee. She introduces herself and she says she's been happily married for 16 years with 2 kids, and she knows every single successful bachelor in New Orleans. Zadia says she wants to be loved for all of her, and I'm asking the question: is that going to be for Zadia? Is that going to be for her anger and everything?
Hmm.
And I'm not really sure because Zadia, like, she really has a quick temper. That's the thing I picked out about her. Like from the last time we saw her, at least she back then she had a quick temper. So I'm not really sure if that's what she's talking about. What do you think she's talking about when she says "love me for all of me"?
Uh, I I have no idea. But if she's talking about love her for her angry outburst, then that's not a good look. No, that's something that needs correcting. Something that you need to go and work on. That's not something that should be accepted as a part of a stable, functioning, loving relationship. Absolutely not.
Mm-mm. I agree. I totally agree because I'm not with it with these with violent angry outburst from a female or a male. I think people, adults, a part of adulting is that you are able to control your temper and your emotions to a reasonable degree. You know, like I'm not saying people can't get emotional, they can't get upset, but have you learned basic tools like counting to 10, and I noticed Zadia in this episode, she said 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 countdown. I was like, okay, no, that's not how you count if you're trying to calm yourself. It goes a lot slower. It's like one and a two.
Hmm.
You know what
Well,
I'm saying?
yeah, I agree. And the thing is,
She's amping herself up.
she's self-aware enough to know that she has that.
Yeah,
Uh,
now I
but
give her
she's not,
credit. That's true.
but she's not doing anything about it, and that's where the key comes.
That's where
So
the keys.
yeah, so if you know you've got a problem and you own it, okay, that's step one. And then the next step is okay, now to eradicate it and sort that behavior out so it doesn't interfere with your whatever you're looking for relationship wise. She's not doing that. And let's be real, she's not the only one. There are going to be other combustible elements in there as well because they're short tempered too. We've
Mm.
already seen it in the trailers. So
Yeah, yeah, you're right. Sometimes those trailers be giving away way too much. Way too
mm,
much. Like, and then we got coming over here to Vernisha. Vernisha, of course, her situation, she says she's been super protective of the fact that she's a single mom of three girls and they are ages 21, 18, and 15. So she says she feels like she needs a special man now that her daughters are almost grown. She needs a special man because she's feeling like now she can be able to focus on a relationship. What did you think about her that comment that she made?
yeah, she if that's what she's looking for, then you know, I guess we'll see if that guy is actually on the show for her. She's already made it known that she's not going to be invested in the first guy that catches her attention. She's quite willing to, date a lot more guys this time rather than latch on to somebody like she did previously. And yeah, it's a serious relationship that she's looking for if she's thinking about her kids and how they are going to be a part of the situation as well. And at some point, that guy may need to, get their approval of, in a way, of how they're going to, uh, accept him as part of the family unit. So she has to be looking for a really serious guy. This isn't date 3, 4 guys out multiple times and then choose yourself because of silly reasons. I think she's going to be looking for a guy that's financially stable. She's going to be looking for a guy that possibly makes more than her, that is willing to accept her and her 3 kids. Um, there's a lot. And if that guy's on the show, we're yet to see him.
Right, right. That's a thing. We haven't met the guys. We haven't come to that yet. But we do see all the Tamika Lee, the matchmaker from New Orleans. She takes the ladies outside of the home where they're living, and out there are 25 men that are all these single men, and the
Mhm.
women get to look at the men for a moment, and then she asks them to make their decision and make their choice.
Mhm.
Um, Now we move forward to Sharice. Well, I thought it was interesting that Sharice basically was going through. She was looking at the guys in her confessional. She's got a lengthy checklist, and she's looking at their ankles, if they're not ashy or not, and if their shoelaces are tied, and she's just
Mhm.
going through this list. I'm like, Sharice, really? Seriously,
Yeah.
seriously, like.
Sounds like a lot of work and a headache.
It just well, no, you know what? But did you think about it too, JR? Did you feel like it was all superficial because all the things she was talking about, they're all physical.
Yep.
You got to get to know these guys.
She ain't gonna get to know them if the physical ain't what she's looking for.
Wow. Okay.
Look,
Okay.
that's why she's looking at all those things, all those superficial things. She's looking at first. Then it's gonna be the materials.
Uh-huh.
Then it's gonna be how many kids you got. She's broken down how she's gonna basically vet these guys.
She did. She did. Well, she's in for a surprise because we're going to get to her in just a second. But Donald's bald headed, bearded, nice looking. He has the date first with Ashley. We see them. And he tells her that she says, "What are you looking for?" He says, "I'm looking for somebody like you, chocolate, short, beautiful woman." He seems to know what he wants. But on the date, like Ashley is so hyped. I'm like, what is going on? What did you make of that? Like all that energy she came with. I mean, I think a little energy is good, but I felt like just watching her was wearing me out.
Mm. Well, she's obviously excited.
Hmm.
Um,
Yeah, maybe she hasn't been on a date in a while. That could be.
yeah. I mean, and it's a contrast to what we've seen from some of the other ladies in the house. Who else is happy and giddy like that? No one.
Mm, Nobody. Vernisha smiling though, but just more
Yeah,
laid back. Yeah.
exactly. So you got to have someone that brings some positive energy and some excitement to the show rather
Okay.
than the hostile um
Yeah.
energy. So
Yeah. Well, I
at
mean,
least she stands out.
she does. She does. She does stand out. Like her and what's the girl from just the season past, Kira. Who do you think will win in a cheer off, her or Kira?
um I don't know. Kira's meant to be
Tell me, guys, in
yeah,
the chat, what you think. Who will win between Kira and right now at this moment and Ashley? All the energy Ashley was bringing. Who
yeah,
will win
nah,
in a cheer
listen.
off?
Energy wise, I'm going with Ashley, but Kira apparently must be good because she's working with the Dallas Cowboys. So I don't know.
Yeah, that is true. So you gotta kind of so which one are you saying, Jr? You seem like you're trying to pick both. Now, which one are you
Nah,
going
nah,
with?
nah, nah, nah.
Going with
Listen, I
Kira?
saw Kira do something with what's his name?
Oh, Herbert.
Herbert. Yeah, no, I wasn't impressed by that. So I'm gonna go with Ashley straight away because she's at least
Okay.
got
All right, guys, you heard it here first. He is going with Ashley for the cheer. Who you guys picking? Put it down in the chat. Who are you going with? Yes, that's right. Please like. If you haven't already liked the video, like the video. Go over and check out JRXTV right now. Go over and check him out and subscribe, like, do all the things that are thinging, right? Oh, hey there, Kiki. Good to see you. Good to see you. Okay, so we think that Ashley would definitely win in a cheer off. All right, okay. And okay, so we get to the next scene, Zadia. I thought this was kind of curious. Now I don't know. I get a feeling that this is somewhat editing. So you tell me what you think. On the next scene, we've got Zadia and the guy that she picked with the locks in his hair, right?
Mhm,
Long locks. She refuses to answer any of the questions. It looks like.
mhm.
I'm like, is that editing? And then she basically walks away and wraps things up. So is that editing?
I don't know. I don't think so. Who
Do you
knows?
think so? Yeah.
No. Um, the fact that she sat there and said, she doesn't like dating because the boring questions that come with meeting someone on a date.
Mm-hmm.
Well,
Yeah.
that's what dating is.
That
You know,
is.
you're not. He didn't interrogate her. He tried to ask questions that led to conversations, and
Yes.
she just weren't feeling it. So, again, What are you doing on the show if you don't really like dating?
Yeah, that was kind of odd because you're right. I mean, I didn't think he was like, and I mean, and I will say this. I'm going to give her this. There are some people that you can go on dates with, and I've had it happen to me where you feel like you're in interrogation, and it's not cool. It's not cool for somebody to just keep rapid fire asking you questions, not allowing you to answer, or either not really kind of sharing information back and forth. Because here's the thing: I think conversation is kind of a give and take, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's a give
But
and take, you
she
know?
wasn't giving anything back. She
Mm-mm.
literally did not want to answer the questions. So yes, give and take. When the person being asked a question doesn't want to lead into conversation from it, then the date's gonna go pretty bad, gonna feel pretty empty, and then you just lost the connection.
Right, right. That's it. That's it.
First impressions last, and you
They
can only
do.
make a first impression one time.
One time.
So if that's the first impression you're giving someone when you sit down with them, then it's not going to bode well going through all 25 guys or whatever with that attitude.
Yeah, I couldn't figure it out. No, you didn't. Stay tuned. I'm so sick of you. You did not say that. But our Roro says she was not willing to get to know him.
Mhm.
Yeah, that wasn't cool. That really wasn't cool. I couldn't understand it. Um,
So I have a question for you, Aubrey.
yeah, go ahead,
Do
go
you
ahead.
see a common theme here already? Sharice's
Mm,
date, Zadia's date. Do you see a common theme at the moment? Not getting to know the guys, giving them a chance to really get
mm.
to know them. Can you see?
I think you're right because but here's what I want to say because so I got a kind of a 50-50 with Sharice. I definitely feel like Zadia. So to Zadia, yes, you're correct. She definitely was not trying to get to know her date based upon what we saw. What we saw. Well, of course, they're going to come back at the reunion and they're going to say that date didn't go like that. That was editing. But now let's talk about Sharice, right? So on Sharice's date, we know that she went out with the military officer. He's
Mhm,
38 to her
mhm,
42, and he
mhm,
has three children and she has zero, right?
mhm, mhm,
Now, when he gets to the kid's age and he talks about the 4-year-old, I kind of like her. I kind of have to say that I think that I would be concerned.
mhm,
My date has a 4-year-old.
mhm,
Why aren't you with the mom of this 4-year-old?
mhm,
And since you're saying that you're single, you're not with the mom, what is that going to be like? Because a 4-year-old requires that both parents be active because it's not like you're talking about a 13 or 14-year-old that can pick up the phone and call dad, right? Okay.
mhm,
The
mhm,
4-year-old requires that the mother and the father communicate. So that leaves if it's not a healthy boundary between those two people that are co-parenting, that
mhm,
leaves leeway for something to be going on between mom and dad.
mhm.
So, am I wrong in that?
Um, that's a difficult one to answer because there are people that do have younger children. Some kids are not in their teenage years by the time they figure out that they need to go back out into the dating market and find someone. But at the same time, like I said, at the age that these ladies are, if
Hmm.
you're thinking that there's going to be guys that, you know,
Yeah,
either don't have any kids or all their kids are going to be grown, then that's probably the reason why you're single because you've been eliminating a lot of guys that could potentially be mates
yeah.
based on the fact that they've got children.
You know what? You got an excellent point, JR, and I have to agree with you. I would say so. If I were in Sharice's shoes, or even Vernisha, right?
Mm,
So they're both in their early 40s and they're single and they want to find a mate, right? I
mhm,
would be open to a man that has children.
mhm,
Like to Sharice's point, though, I will say this: I would be hopeful that if I found such a man and we had a chemistry and a connection, that the guy would be, the kids maybe would be, late teens, mid teen, late teens, or even in their 20s. So he's like maybe 42, 45. He's got
mhm,
a 19-year-old, a 20-year-old.
mhm. Right. Would you still consider them baggage even if they are grown kids?
No, I don't consider kids to be baggage at all. I would never.
No, I'm just saying because obviously Sharice has already made that comment.
Yeah, yeah,
So
yeah. No,
was she
you
right?
know,
Right. So do you think that she's right to make that comment about kids who are of younger age, but if the kids are in their teenagers or older, they're not baggage? Because they're still a part of that guy's life, no matter what.
exactly. I see what you're saying. No, I couldn't. Let me tell you something, Jr. I love kids so much. I really do. I love kids, and if I meet a guy and he has children, my goal, if I like the guy and we build a connection together and we're in a relationship together, my goal is that his kid is like becomes like my kid. You see what I'm saying? I'm a
Mm,
very loving person, and I feel like part of the blessing of me being adopted is that I am more open to also opening my heart and adopting other people, if that makes sense.
mhm,
As where I've found that some people that I know that only see things as, well, this person is a blood family member and this person is not. So
mm,
I'm far more open to the ideal of having children that I would not even want to call if we were, if let's say if it went to the point where the father and I got married, that's not my stepchild, that's my child. And in my mind and in my heart, they get all of me just the same way my own children get all of me.
mhm.
That's just how I feel. I mean, honestly, that's the full truth of that. And I think,
Yeah,
everybody is different, but I'm not gonna say I love you and then I don't love your children. That's crazy.
yeah, and but this is the situation. The situation is that she particularly, Sharice particularly, doesn't want to date someone who has kids, and that's
Yeah.
her preference. That's fine.
Yeah.
But again, you're shrinking the dating pool. If you're over 40 yourself, you're looking for a guy who's established, who's probably going to be over 40 as well. And
Hmm.
then you're saying you don't want to date a guy who has kids because they're baggage. You're going to eliminate a lot of guys. That's the reality. And then he's going to have to put up with and deal with the personality and attitude that comes with Sharice as well. So that's going to shrink the dating pool even further. Um, so yeah, that's the situation that she's in. She has a really small chance of finding someone based on her preferences, which is all good. Stick to your preferences and just hope that there's that small chance. And
Yeah.
like I said, if the roles were reversed and the guy was interested in dating, say, Vernisha, for example, and he said, "Nah, you know what? I don't want to date any girls who got kids. That's the baggage and all the rest of
Hmm.
it." We would be saying, "How dare he say that? Because that's rude. Because kids are
Oh,
not baggage."
absolutely,
Right.
absolutely. Like I said, but I feel
So
like that either way. But I agree with you. We would be saying a lot more about that.
exactly. So
I.
yeah, we
Hmm.
like I said, the key to this show is how
Okay.
much change some of these ladies have undergone since we last saw them on our screens. If there isn't
Okay.
much change, then unfortunately, or it's gotten worse, then unfortunately it's not going to bode well for the success rate
I
on
got.
the
Okay. I got a question for you now. You said that, and I agree with you. Um, I agree with you for the most part, but I got
mm,
a question for you. How much credence do you put in the fact that on this show the difference also is that we have a professional matchmaker who has been in a seat where she sat as a single woman, found
mm,
her true love, seems to be working it out for 16 plus years, got the two kids and the two-car garage, I'm sure, back at home. So
mhm.
how much credence do you put into the fact that the show came with a matchmaker and a coach?
Um, I think it could be a good thing if the ladies are coachable, you
Mm-hmm.
know, if they listen to her advice because she's able to analyze them at close range and basically see where they could be room for improvement. Uh, and if they don't heed her advice, which I'm not sure they will, because some of them may be stuck in their ways, set in their ways, then if they don't change anything, how are they going to expect a different result? So yeah, I think it could be a plus, but it depends how coachable the ladies are to the advice that they're given.
Okay. So with that being said, what did you make of Zadia's date out? She goes out with Jabari and they go and they end up, so is this like a own tradition that you have to go to a tarot card reader? What did you make of that date with the tarot card reader?
Yeah, I mean, it's interesting that they keep using tarot card readers. They've had, I think this is the third time in less than a year we've seen tarot cards introduced.
Yes,
Um,
I
and not
think so.
everyone's not everyone's into that stuff. A lot of people are into organized religion and don't want to take part in those things. But it seems to be something that they're pushing. Maybe
Right.
they're trying to make it out like it's a good thing to do. Not sure. But
Hmm.
if it could predict the outcome of the show, then I'm sure a lot of people wouldn't be wasting any time.
You say if we can predict the outcome of the show. Well, now to your point, Zadia did ask him to the tarot card reader to focus on love, and so with that, she didn't want to focus on too much of anything else. And
Hmm.
the tarot card reader, I thought, gave some very general, generic type of, like you can say something that'll fit pretty much anybody type of stuff.
And do you know why that was?
Because that's what tarot card readers probably do. I wouldn't know.
No.
I've never been to one, but
I
what?
I would assume that it's
Okay.
because there was nothing specifically relating to Zadia and love. That's why she had to keep it generic.
Wait a minute. Are you saying that Zadia doesn't have any love interest, or what are you saying to that? What does that mean?
Well, she hasn't got any love interest yet because it's only episode one.
Well, yeah, but I mean, I thought the tarot card. I thought. Now I don't know for sure, but I'm guessing. I think a reading isn't that supposed to be for something in the future, not like just the present.
I think it takes into account both things, but if it does relate to the future and she's giving general statements rather than something specific, then that also might tell you something.
Mm. Yeah, yeah. I think that could be true. Zadia, though, for her part, um, let's see here on my notes here. Uh, she says, and I thought this was a little interesting. She said that she was wanting to see with this tarot card reading if Jabari would even be open to it. And she says that the fact that he was tells her a lot about him. So what would you guess that she means by that? What do you think that implies? That she says it tells her a lot about him.
Listen, this is Zadia Talk, so I have no idea what that translation means. No idea. It means something to her, but I wasn't, you know, I
Okay,
have no idea.
I'm gonna let you get away with that. Okay, what can I say? It's Zadia talk. I'm guessing that that's what it was. That a
Mm,
fact that he was open, which actually as a viewer had me wondering. Well, like to your point, is she a part of any organized religion? Is she
mm.
Christian? Is she Muslim? Is she Buddhist? I mean, and how does that all factor in? Or is she agnostic even? So I don't know. Like I said, I don't know. I've never been for a tarot card reading. I thought that was interesting, and I guess what she was saying was that she wanted. I took it. This is what I did. I took it that Zadia likes a person that is adventurous, and that she likes a guy that is open and progressive. That's how I took it. So maybe as the show goes along, we'll get a little more insight into how her mind actually works. Because at this point, that's how I took it. That was my implication from it. What did you guys take from it? Did you have any thoughts in the chat out there? Roro, what did you think about her saying that? And did anybody notice the person that did the reading? Like, um, okay, so, so that was what I got out of that. And mm, oh yeah, and the other thing, I'm sorry. So last thing about Zadia and this and Jabari, when they were walking away, as they were walking away, they were still talking. and he asked her what were her plans for the next 5 years. She asked him, and then he said that he saw himself putting his daughter through her master's degree. Now, this is where I'm going to put a pin in it, and I want you guys to jump in because this is something that some of my younger girlfriends have been telling me about, and I've been like, oh, that's really interesting. And now I'm beginning to see that there's a theme. So, my younger girlfriends are saying that they're running into more and more grown men that they're dating that are single that have this thing for their daughters, their adult daughters. Um, and that is basically that they have turned the role of the daughter into almost like the girlfriend. Like they are paying their daughter's rent, they're buying them cars, they're paying their car insurance, and they are doing so much to the point where a relationship with the woman, it it feels like it's like it's three people in the relationship rather than two. Has anybody out there experienced or heard of this phenomena? I guess this is something I'm not really seen or experienced so much myself personally, but is this something that other women are experiencing? And are you familiar with it, JR?
Yeah, it happens a lot. I've seen it a lot.
Really?
Hmm. Yeah. If because some
I,
people think that daddy issues is only when there's an absent father. Sometimes daddy issues can be because the father is present and he dotes on his daughter. That father-daughter relationship special, treats her like the princess, spoils her, buys her cars, pays for certain things. Really gives her a lot of focus and attention. And
mhm,
when a guy does come into her life, that she sometimes may be looking for a guy to take the place of what the father's been doing,
mhm.
or in some cases, the father doesn't want to um, let his daughter date someone who isn't up to his standard. So it can work in different ways.
I got your comment. I'm sorry. I'm laughing because I have your comment up now. I hadn't seen it before. Who looked like a young Isaac Hayes? Are you talking about the same person I think you're talking about?
Naeem, that Zadia used to date from Ready to Love.
Oh, okay. Because I was thinking of someone else. Okay. Uh, yeah, yeah, yeah. I can see that. I can see that. That's interesting what you just said about so the father issue doesn't have to also only be when the father is not present in a girl's life or a woman's life.
Hmm.
You're saying that it could be an issue if so basically, okay, so I get it now. Okay, you know how they say mama's boys?
Hmm.
A man is a mama's boy. Okay,
Yeah,
so basically like a daddy's girl, like, but I always
yeah.
think of daddy's girl. Like when I say I'm a daddy's girl, I'm literally talking about when I was a girl. I'm not
Hmm.
talking about in the here and now. I'm not
Hmm.
talking about even, 10 years ago, 20 years ago. Like if my father had lived longer, I'm sure we would have still had a strong relationship, but I don't see my father taking the place of a guy,
Mm.
a romantic interest in my life. I don't see that.
Yeah, well, like I said, it does happen because, like, especially over here, there's a lot of
Really?
people get into relationships that lead to marriage later or having kids later. And I think the average age of moving out of your parents' house over here is about 35. So
What? Are you
dads,
serious?
yeah, so fathers still stay attached somewhat. They're always at the end of the phone for their daughter, especially, which is the way it should be. But it's finding that balance when to let go, and let your daughter be independent, or also on the other hand, if the daughter is expecting to find a guy that's in the mirror image of her dad in terms of what he provides for her and how he treats her. So yeah, it does happen.
Oh, wow. I think I've been out of touch. I'm gonna have to talk to Ron a little bit more about this. That's interesting. I mean, now that I think about it, I do know of some cases that are similar. Let me see what I did here. I hit the wrong button. Okay, that are similar. I think that is true. And so finally, we get to, like I said, we can talk about this a little bit more now if you'd like to, JR. We get to the scene where after all the dates are finished where Ashley and Zadia are relaxing out by the pool, and they talked about their dates. And now Ashley is allowing Zadia in and telling her that she had this really great dad, and her dad actually was, technically the technical term, a stepfather who adopted her. So I could really relate to her when she said that, like that situation once again of someone being adopted. I totally get that, the
Right.
significance of that, right? But that unfortunately they had a restaurant down in Atlanta where she's from, and that one day there was I guess two men in the alley fighting, and he went to kind of break it up to make sure nobody got harmed. And unfortunately, he was the one when someone pulled out a gun and unalived him. And
Mm.
like I said, I could see, to me, that that would still be emotional. I don't know if it's
Right.
5 years, 10 years, but it would still be emotional for me if that was my dad, because I love my dad to the nth degree.
Right.
So, but you feel like your feelings on this is that maybe she's not healed.
If she's still emotional and it happened some time ago, then she may need to seek some way to release all of that before it impacts her relationship that she's looking for.
Okay. Okay. And then I just want to answer this question too that Roro. No, not like girlfriend as in, dating or anything romantic or physical, but in terms of support, I think is what
Right.
they were saying. Um,
Yeah, it is. It's in terms of support mostly. Yeah.
right, right, right. So, like, do you see? Okay, so you saying over there. So, would that be in the case, the same case, would be the same situation in a two-parent household? Jr. Would you say, like, if mom and dad are still together, that the mother is comfortable with the situation where dad is still financially supporting the daughter, or are both parents doing all this supporting of the 25, 30, 35 year old?
No, like if both parents are involved, then it is both parents, but it's mainly the dad. The dad's the protective one, and
Hmm.
yeah, he does a majority of the financial stuff. Um,
Oh, did you see what Monique has up on the screen? Do you see that comment?
mhm. So yeah, like it's natural. The thing is, you have to realize when you're a parent for life, right? And if your kid is out there in the world and they haven't settled and they haven't found the person and started their own family yet, then
Hmm.
there is still that potential that you're going to be still taking care of them in some aspects. If there's anything that happens, she doesn't have a protector in a boyfriend or husband because she's single, so she turns to dad, who's the next best thing.
Wow. You know what? I guess the longer I live, the more I learn, the less I know, and the more I realize that I don't know. And I always find it interesting. Cultural differences, nationalities, countries, communities, whether you're from a big family, small family. Um, that's really very interesting. But you know what it does remind me of though, JR, what you're saying? So when I think back to growing up in the church, when I think back to being and a different generation, back to the 70s and 80s, let's say, within my church community, that was a true thing, what you just said, that if a young woman was not married until she got married, she would stay typically she would stay at home with her parents. Now, whether she was going off to college maybe and come back in between, semesters, she would come back to her parents' home. And like I think of fact someone I saw the other day at the homegoing that I went to on Thursday. And by the way, guys, we're going to be talking about on Friday. I'll be doing another From the Heart, which is another segment of my channel. From the Heart is where I really kind of become naked and bare in front of you guys and really lay out my heart. So I'll be talking with my special guest about grief and about passing. So we'll talk about that a little bit more then. But yeah, but getting back to what I was saying, Jr. So yeah, in my church families, I think of the community that I was in. Um, that community, you're right. young women did not basically go out the way I've seen in my non-church community when they got to be 21 or let's say 22 or whatever. They basically moved out as single women and went into the world, into the workforce, right? And they became very quickly self-sufficient and took care of themselves. So yeah, like if you need help with a bill, it's I think normal to call and ask mom or dad for help with a bill, but by and large, it's like a very big difference from what you're saying in your community there in the UK versus what I see oftentimes here with parents, where kids, young adults are considered young adults, and therefore they go out onto their own.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of them do, but like I said, the parents are still on the end of the phone. If anything does go wrong or they need help, reach out to the parents because they ain't got no man. So that is usually the guy that's gonna go out there and do stuff. Mm,
Mm.
very common,
Well,
and it's
you
not a black thing or a white thing. It's just pretty much common. If you have parents, they're there to help you out, and they usually will help you out.
Okay. Well, yeah, that makes sense what you're saying too, that it's not a black or white thing. And that's interesting because I think about the differences when I've been on parents panels as an adult, having an adult child in college. That conversation kind of came up as the different communities within this country here in the States handle that differently. So you're right.
Mhm.
It's not a black or white thing. I think it's kind of what each one of us as parents perceive as norms, and maybe what the 25 or 30 or 35-year-old perceives as norm. We kind of saw that this season with the young lady that was on Ready to Love, Katarina, right?
Mhm.
You know, it was said that her dad was still paying her auto insurance and other bills,
Mhm.
even though she's a
Mhm.
full RN, very successful, very accomplished.
Exactly. She can pay her own. She makes enough money, but she got her dad doing it, and he's doing it voluntarily. So.
Right. But I think so. That's the question, though, and that's what I'm seeing and hearing from some of my counterparts and some of my friends is that they're saying that they find this to be, and I'm going to use a word from take a word from Sharice. They find that to be baggage.
Mhm.
They find
Well,
that to be baggage. Okay, let me ask you something. Would you ever date a woman yourself? Would you date a woman with adult kids that she's still supporting?
would I date a woman with adult kids?
Yeah.
No, I wouldn't. I wouldn't date a lady that has kids. No,
Okay.
I've
Okay. So
tried it,
this, huh?
and I tried it, and
Okay.
I wouldn't go down that road again. I think there's a when you when you date someone who has a child, you can obviously build a relationship with the parent, but when you build a relationship with the child as well, and if it's a really good close relationship, as close as it can be, even though you're an external person, sometimes that breakup can affect the bond that you've built with that child. So you're losing two people instead of just breaking up with one. So I think
Oh.
that I
Oh.
wouldn't do it. No.
Okay. Well, and that's because Naomi has a question for you if you want to tackle that
Hmm.
one, and then we'll kind of wrap things up here. Thank you guys for hanging out. I hope you've hung out this long. You're not being chinsy on the like, and you're not being chinsy by not going over and subscribing to JR and supporting his channel. Also, we do this because we love it, but it really helps our algorithm for you guys to like the video, to go over and subscribe to JR, follow him on Instagram. I don't know. Let me see if Monique put that up. Your Instagram handle. I'll put that up there if I see it. I
Hmm.
got JRXTV. Okay, she's got that. But I'm sorry. I asked you a question. I think I'm trying to do too many things at one time. You were going to say about if you had children or not.
Oh no, I don't have any children. Nope, not yet.
Yeah,
I
not
need to
yet.
get married first. Marriage first, then children.
Amen. Amen. I agree. I agree. That makes it a much easier situation to be married first and have the children afterwards.
Yeah,
Um,
it's how I
Jr.
was raised. Like
Mhm.
my family, like my I would probably say about 98% of the men in my family are married. My parents are still together. Um,
Your parents have been married for a good long time, then too. I take it.
yeah, my parents have been married for about 44 years, somewhere around there.
Wow,
Um,
that's awesome.
Grandparents married. Um, so marriage is what we've all been uh, brought up to believe is uh, the best way forward, right? Um,
Okay.
my dad
Yes.
always has been an advocate for you must find someone to build and share life with, um, and relationships happen, but um, I think that having a stable foundation first in terms of your relationship is always going to be better than any of the other options out there. If you have designs or desires to have a family, always try and make sure you have a stable foundation first with the person you want to have that family with.
That's it. That is absolutely it. It's like people have the children and then they decide after they have the children. Like, I bet you the guy with the 4-year-old was probably saying, "Oh, I don't even like his mom." His
Mhm.
child's mom. Like,
Yeah,
but
could be.
wait a minute. Like, but to your point, I guess what I'm saying is they didn't set a foundation, because if they did, even if he didn't want to get married to her, I feel like he wouldn't be out dating. I don't know. Maybe that, but
Yeah.
that's just me. That's my thought. JR, but definitely tell us where we can find you. I've got your Instagram handle up on the screen, and but tell us more about what you're doing over on Instagram and your channel.
hmm Okay, thank you. You can find me on Instagram, JRX um, with the exercise, some health, nutrition, a holistic approach to your well-being, um, tips, occasional updates. But yeah, you'll find that on there, and then on YouTube, you'll find the other important aspect to your well-being, which is your relationships, and that's when we discuss relationships in the community, different issues that come up from time to time, and some that you may resonate with. So yeah, feel free to like, share, and subscribe any of the videos or content that you see, and obviously, actually Aubrey as well. If you see any videos relating to anything that you relate to, like, share, and subscribe on Ashley Aubrey on Instagram and YouTube as well.
Well, thank you, dear. I appreciate that so much. That was so gracious of you. As we close this up, I want to announce, for those of you who haven't seen it yet, that on next Sunday, the 22nd, uh, Tequila will be here. She'll be joining us for an interview live. And I'm going to drop something down in my community tab, so you guys have questions for her and you want answered. Be sure to drop them on the tab. JR, you got questions too?
Yeah, I
I'm not going to tell you guys. I'm not going to bother to tell you that we just spent probably about 3 hours, 4 hours on the phone talking. So I got,
wow.
there's a lot of inside tea, guys. There's a lot of inside tea that's about to be spilled. So stay tuned next Sunday. And I think we'll be bringing on a couple more of our castmates in the week to come. So, well, JR, what kind of questions you got? Just give me one question. What question that you don't understand? What would you ask to Quilla if you had her and you were interviewing her? What would you ask her?
Mm, I would probably ask her, um, Why didn't her and Habibi pursue a relationship after the show?
Ah, that's interesting. I would have never thought you would have asked something like that. Why didn't Tequila and Habibi pursue a romantic relationship after the
Mm-hmm.
show?
Mm-hmm.
But you know what? Do you find, have you noticed, like you talked about it, none of the people on the show, and I always ask that question because I said, well, so and so clicked, but they didn't meet till the very end of the show, and one of them got eliminated first. And then I think to myself, well, I'm always asking, why didn't they get together? Like the show wraps, so why can't you get together?
Hmm.
Why? Why can't, you know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
You see people, they click, they're talking, and then one of them gets eliminated. You know, you see them on a good date. Why don't they get together after the show? It's almost like I don't know. What do you think the
Well,
reason is?
they got eliminated roughly like a week apart. So, with the pressure of the cameras not being there, none of the other castmates to do back talking and trigger
Hmm.
people and things like that,
Right,
it would have been a
right.
great opportunity. So that's why I would ask that question.
That's a good question. That's a good question, JR. I like that question. That's it. Right there. I like it. I like it a lot. Well, guys, like I said, definitely go over and follow JR at JRXTV. Check him out over on Instagram. He's always doing a lot of stuff, like he says, health and fitness. That's his thing. That's his bag. That's what he does. He's a coach and he's really good at it. So definitely check him out if you're on, like myself, you're on a health journey back to fitness and getting yourself in tip top shape. Definitely check. And JR, did you tell me that you also do virtual coaching?
Online training, yes.
Online training? Okay.
Hmm.
Online training. Let me
So
say it
basically,
correctly.
you
Mhm.
can, if you have access to Wi-Fi, you can book sessions and take me into your gym, or if you have a space at home, you have equipment at home, you can train online. I'll be on
Mm,
your tablet or your phone or your device, coaching you, watching your form, giving you health tips, making sure you get those reps out, helping you to get fitter, faster, and feeling better.
yeah, that's it. Because who doesn't want to feel better? Who doesn't want to feel better? Well, with that, guys, thank you for being here. You guys stuck around. You checked that like, you clicked that like, you went over and subscribed to JR's channel. I know you did. So we're gonna see you back here next week, and we're gonna shimmy and shake. JR and I are gonna shimmy and shake on out of here, right, JR?
Yes, indeed.
Bye now, guys.
Have a nice evening. Bye.